He was a British writer, military leader, and politician who was the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom during World War II. He forged crucial alliances with the United States and the Soviet Union and led his country to victory against Nazi Germany. Here are a few facts you didn't know about Sir Winston Leonard Spencer-Churchill. He was born on the 13th of November 1874 at his parental home Blenheim Palace in Oxfordshire. He is a direct descendant of the Dukes of Marlborough, so his family was among the highest levels of the British aristocracy. His grandfather was John Spencer-Churchill, the 7th Duke of Marlborough, and his father was Lord Randolph Churchill, Viceroy of Ireland and a member of the Conservative Party. His mother was Jenny Churchill, an American woman. The family was frequently in debt. According to the biographer Sebastian Haffner, they were rich by normal standards but poor by those of the rich. As a young child, it is said that Churchill regularly misbehaved in schools. He narrowly passed the entrance exam, which allowed him to begin studies at the elite Harrow School in 1888. He excelled particularly in history, but teachers complained about his misbehavior constantly. He wrote poetry and letters which were published in the school magazine. His father insisted that he should go for a military career, so Churchill's last 3 years at the Harrow were spent in the army form. There he performed poorly in most of his exams. He was accepted in the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst in 1893 as a cadet in the cavalry. In 1895 he was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the 4th Hussars Regiment of the British Army based at Aldershot. There he served and fought in skirmishes on numerous locations in the British Empire, most notably in Cuba during its War of Independence, in India, where he wrote his first book, The Story of the Malacan Field Force, which was published by Longman and had generally positive reviews. After that, he wanted to accompany Herbert Kitchener's military campaign in the Sudan. He joined the 21st Lancers at Cairo before they headed to take part in the Battle of Omdurman against the Sudanese leader Abdullahi ibn Muhammad. It is said that Churchill took part in the cavalry charge during the battle, which was an easy victory for the British as the Sudanese were technologically and technically inadequate. After his return to England in 1899, he decided that he wanted a parliamentary career, and so he began to pursue political contacts and attend Conservative Party meetings. Anticipating the Second Boer War between Britain and the Boer republics, he sailed from Southampton to South Africa as a journalist writing for the Daily Mail and Morning Post. Once there, he traveled to the conflict zone and he was captured as a prisoner of war and sent to a Boer concentration camp in Pretoria. He would later escape the prison by scaling a latrine well. A local English mine owner helped him by hiding him for 3 days and then sent him on a train which traveled to safety in Portuguese East Africa. His political career began officially in 1900 when he was elected to Parliament, a position he would hold for more than 60 years. In 1904, he crossed the floor defecting from the Conservatives to sit as a member of the Liberal Party in the House of Commons. In 1906, King Edward VII invited the Liberal leader Henry Campbell Bannerman to form a new government, and in it Churchill became the Under Secretary of State for the Colonial Office, a position that he had requested. In 1908, he was promoted to the cabinet as President of the Board of Trade, and in 1911 he was appointed as First Lord of the Admiralty, where he focused on naval preparation. As the First World War was on the horizon, Churchill vowed that for every new battleship built by the Germans, Britain would build 2. During World War I, Churchill was tasked with overseeing the country's naval warfare effort. He also founded the development of the tank, which he believed would be very useful in overcoming the problems of trench warfare. In 1915, he prepared an assault against the crumbling Ottoman Empire by attacking the Dardanelles. This campaign was a big failure as the Ottomans managed to repel the British. Many members of the British Parliament, particularly Conservatives, blamed Churchill for these failures, and the government leader Asquith was forced to demote Churchill to the position of Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster. He served there for several months, but he eventually resigned and returned to the British Army. Although he disapproved strongly of the mass slaughter involved in many World War I actions, he exposed himself to danger numerous times by going to the front lines and making 36 forays into no man's land. In 1916, he returned to the parliament and managed to repair his reputation. In subsequent years, he rejoined the Conservative Party, commenting that anyone can rat, but it takes a certain ingenuity to re-rat, meaning to betray. Throughout much of his life, he opposed any form of autonomy for India. He disliked Mohandas Gandhi in particular, saying that he should be bound hand and foot and crushed with an elephant ridden by the Viceroy of India. He also had imperialistic views on other British colonies, as he once said that Zulus, Afghans and Dervishes were savages and barbarous people. He took over as Prime Minister in 1940 after a disastrous start to World War II in which Germany conquered a good slice of Europe. As a master speaker, Churchill rallied the nation in the face of certain attack. He told the parliament his famous words that he had nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears and sweat. On the 4th of June, he said similarly that they shall defend their island, whatever the cost may be, that they shall fight on the beaches, on the landing grounds, in the fields, in the streets and in the hills. We shall never surrender, said Churchill, and surrender they did not. Many journalists described Churchill's looks as 20 years younger during the battle for Britain, as the war energized him and uplifted his spirit. He led Britain to victory in World War II, but nonetheless he lost the election in 1945 and his Conservative Party lost in a landslide. The victorious Labour Party successfully portrayed them as anti-worker and anti-welfare. He would later serve as a Prime Minister one more time between 1951 and 55, before he recognized that he was slowing down both mentally and physically and resigned his post. He was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II as a Garter Knight and settled down in Hyde Park Gate in London. There was speculation that he may have had Alzheimer's disease in his last years. Despite his poor health, he still tried to remain active in public life, but on the 15th of January 1965, he suffered a severe stroke and 9 days later he died, age 90, 70 years to the day after his own father's death. His funeral was attended by thousands and millions watched on television. He was buried at St. Martin's Church in Bladon. As he once said, "If you're going through hell, keep going. Never, never, never give up. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." What did you think about this video? Did we say anything wrong? For more videos similar to this one, subscribe to our channel Forum Feast and leave us a comment saying what you would like to see next. Until next time, goodbye.